Terry, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
You want to tell us a little bit about you and what you're talking about today?
Recording in progress.
Yep. It's going to be all in the presentation in the slideshow. So I can go ahead and get started if you don't have anything else, and I'll get rolling.
Sounds good.
All right. Let me share my screen. All right. Let's do this. Give me 1 second here. All right. That nice and big on everybody's screen today.
Yes, sir.
All right. So thanks for jumping on today. I appreciate it, guys. My name is Terry TreXler. I'll share a little about me in a second, but you are here to learn about building relationships. And this is a lot different. A lot of times some people talk about relationships and people like, we have business relationships, we have personal relationships, we have family relationships. But if we do this whole real estate game right, we're going to have real relationships. And it's a little word I came up with just thinking one day, because a lot of times people talk about keeping it real and building relationships. So merge the two together. And my whole goal and how I build what I can is through relationships. And that is the name of the game. You know, you can go down and try and convince strangers of things, or you can actually get into friendships and have relationships with people that matter, not just trying to either chase a dollar or chase an award or anything like that. So we're going to be talking about building real relationships. So with that said, anything I talk about is going to be just kind of my experiences. It can be recreated by anybody and anybody out there and everybody. But I might talk about some numbers. I normally don't, but if I drop a few, just know that that's my experience. And I just have to use that disclosure because sometimes people either don't believe in themselves or say that's not real. But the truth is anything's possible, because if I can do it, you can do it. And that's why we're here today, to learn about building these type of relationships. So we're going to just talk housekeeping. Please keep your questions till the end so we can get through this and honor everybody's time. If you have a mic, please turn off your microphone for now so we don't get distracted, and just keep your focus. If you can turn on your camera, please do. And please engage when questions are asked in the chat so we can all kind of keep this engaged and keep a little bit of flow going, and not just kind of me talk. I want some engagement back. So that's a little bit of the housekeeping, but I'll kind of go over an overview of what we're going to talk about, and then we'll do some questions and answers at the end. So a little bit about me. I'm from Virginia Beach. This is my hometown. I've been in real estate almost 21 years now. Crazy to think that it all started, basically it says I'm a Marine Corps veteran too. So I got out of high school and I came from two parents that were both real estate. One was up in Pittsburgh. One was down here in the Virginia Beach market. But both were in real estate my whole life. And it's the last thing that was in my thought process when I was graduating high school. So I joined the Marine Corps, did that for 6 years, got out, had a job for about a year and a half, 2 years. And I realized I didn't want to work for anybody else. So my mom sold me my first place. And upon my mom selling me my first place, it piqued my interest because I saw that commission check, So I was like, wait a second, I'm making X a month and you just made that much just by opening the door and showing me around. And we all know there's more to it than that. But the truth is the money here can supersede anything you do in 99.9% of businesses, or any business for that matter, outside of becoming some celebrity or inventing something. But as far as careers go, it's been very lucrative and very beneficial for me and my family. And I like to pay it forward and share that with others. And over those 20 years, I've rode the wave to the top back in the early 2000s. And I also rode that wave right to the bottom because I didn't plan for a rainy day. And I like to be fully transparent on that, because I'm not coming from a place of I know more, I'm better. I'm coming from a place of I had it, I lost everything, and then I came back. So if you're in that position where you're not sure where to turn or what to do, or maybe you're struggling yourselves, just know I've been there. And then on the flip side, if you're at the top of the game and you're having a great career and everything else, no one has it perfect. Just know, I've felt the pain and I've felt the pleasure of having success in this business. So regardless of what you've done, bankruptcy, foreclosures, not knowing what lead source to go to, and being on teams or owning your own brokerage, I've done all the above. And just know you're not talking to someone that's had it easy for these 20 years. It's been a roller coaster ride, but the past 5, 6 years have been pretty well. With that said, I'm also a top 1% influencer. And that just kind of goes on as far as building businesses, things of that nature, where some of these brokerages track that. I've been lucky to be a part of some of those businesses and brokerages that have done really well. And now I have found what I consider the next big evolution in real estate of where I am, but we're not here to talk about that. But we're going to talk about building relationships and everything else that comes with that, influencing people, helping people, and just encouraging them to do better so we can be better as well. So a few things we're going to talk about. How do you build relationships? Where do those people come from? Well, there's only a few places. A lot of times people go out and say, I need some leads. Has anybody ever bought leads and not gotten a return off of those leads? If you haven't, then you're not in business. We've all spent money on lead sources. And let's get a poll here. Let's kind of see what some of you have done. What are some lead sources you have paid for? If you can put that in the chat, I just want to see some of the places you guys have explored getting leads. So don't be shy. Trust me, I probably tried them all and lost money on most of them. So let's see some of these. Google, yep. We've all done the pay-per-click, the Zillow leads, realtor.com, Chime. That's a little different than most, but it's definitely a great resource out there. And of course, you have Facebook ads. Worked with a team that did Sync. Yep, I've had Sync as well. It's been a few years, so it's probably a lot better than when I had it, but it was a great platform when I did have it. So appreciate you guys sharing that information. But just where do they all come from? Where do these relationships, where can they start from and evolve from? And, you know, some of us have been in our hometown forever. Some of us have ventured and went to new cities or new markets. But no matter where you are, you can grow a very successful business by focusing on these things. And I'm going to say it probably 1,000 times, these relationships matter. So you're going to have your sphere. All right. If you're not familiar with that, this is your circle. This is your people that you know, the people that know, like, and trust you as well. And it's going to be the foundation of your business. And it's the number one place for your business. A lot of people, it's the craziest thing that I've seen over the last 20 years is when people come in, they're getting started, or maybe they don't have the business they want or the closings they want. They're like, well, I don't want to talk to my people. I don't want to talk to my friends and family. I don't want to be like a used car salesman. I just want to help others. Well, shouldn't you want to help your family the most? Shouldn't you want to help your friends the most? If you're not going to talk to them, someone else is going to talk to them. And are they going to take care of them as well as you would? And if your answer is, I don't know if they will, then you're not doing it right. Because at the end of the day, you should know deep in your soul, your heart, your brain, whatever you want to go with, that you are the best person for your friends and family. If you're questioning that now, then it's time to level up and be better. You know, if you're not positive, if you don't have that confidence, the only way you can get that is by educating yourself, plugging in, and surrounding yourself with people that are building and are confident like that. Because if someone comes to me, or I have a neighbor that's talking to someone else, I know I'm going to be the best choice. How do I know that? Because I'm their neighbor. I live in the community. I'm going to work tirelessly to help them achieve the outcome they want. Now, if you're just going to walk around and say you're a real estate agent, hey, I'm a realtor. Yeah, you know one too. Okay, well, good luck. Then you're not doing anybody any favors. You're not doing yourself favors. You're not doing your family favors. If you're just kind of lackadaisical going through this, then you're going to get lackadaisical results. So at the end of the day, if you walk in and you have the confidence and you have the resources to put yourself over and above anybody else out there, and even if you don't have, 200 transactions a year, the fact that you care more is what's going to matter. So the more you care about something, like they say, what's that saying go? No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. That speaks volumes. This is why people sometimes will sit down and you can talk about yourself and your accomplishments of 100 or 200 houses or 50 houses a year. but they're going to hire their cousin. Why? Because they trust their cousin. They trust them. They know them. They like them. Even without the experience, a lot of people will go that route. But if you can put yourself out there to not only focus on your sphere, but also people like your neighbors, your friends of friends, and that's where people you know will come in next. So your sphere is your main circle, your tribe, your people that know, like, and trust you no matter what. And that's going to be where you want to focus the core, the most amount of time in your business. Now, people you know are usually about one step removed from that. So we all have people that maybe we've worked with, we've went to church with, we've went to picnics with, we've went out and had drinks with, whatever it is that's your thing. These are going to be people you know. So you want to, after your sphere, get your sphere, write them down, make sure you have all their contact information. This is your sphere. I mean, this is your business. But then the people you know, who are they? A lot of times people will tell us, I don't really know anybody. Now, so let's see who out there has a certain, tell me how many people you know right now. A ballpark number. Say, do you know more than 10, more than 100, more than 500? Just throw out a ballpark number of how many people you think you really know, not your sphere, but just in general terms, anywhere and everywhere. Let's see a few people out there. Give me some numbers. Put them in the chat, please. I want to see how many people you think you know. And there's no right or wrong answer in this, guys. So let's just see. I know when I started doing it, I started telling myself I only knew a certain amount, and I was blown away by how many people I actually knew. 300, that's a solid number, no doubt about it. 300 is huge. And the reason I asked that, probably hundreds. Yep. I guarantee you everybody on this call knows well over 100 people. And then if you really start going through it, and I have a checklist of this, I can probably share. I'll probably share after this call if anybody wants it, but it's to pique your interest. And it's over 100 questions to make you think about who you know. Who went to the last barbecue with you? Who's your doctor? Who's your dentist? Who's your veterinarian? Who does your hair? No one does my hair. But you got to go through this and, like, who's in your neighborhood? Who's your kids' teachers? All of these people know you. Now, they may not be in your tight circle, your sphere, but they do know you. And that's why it says here, it's going to be the future people for your sphere, your future referral partners. Because in real estate, it's not always about going to people like, do you want to buy or sell a house? Do you want to buy or sell a house? I'm in business. I can help you buy or sell a house. It's not that. You want to get into true relationships with people. So we've talked about your sphere. We've talked about people you know, and you've really got to dig deep of who you know. I mean, don't bypass that person that you met out. Maybe you met someone out just at the amusement park. Collect their information. Tell them you want to stay in touch. Tell them you've got great, knowledge about the market, and you want to share some things that are happening, maybe some discounts with some of the local businesses and restaurants that you share. You're not going to become some spammy person that's just going to try and get them to use you when it's time to buy or sell a house. You're trying to create relationships with people, and you want real relationships. So you do want to find out when their birthday is. And guess what, guys? Great place for that's Facebook. It tells you when their birthday is, and you should be sending messages out to tell people happy birthday. They're not going to jump up and down and say, hey, it's time to buy a house. Let's go talk to Josh. But if you do it enough and you engage enough, it will transform everything. And then the other place that you can get business from is people you don't know. And people sometimes laugh at that, and they're like, well, of course, there's people I know and don't know. It's really that simple. It's really that simple, guys. People talk about, where's the best lead source? Where's the Holy Grail? Where's, the golden ticket to where I don't have to work? It doesn't exist. That's what I'm going to tell you today. It doesn't exist. There's teams out there doing over 1,000 or more transactions a year that are still trying to figure this stuff out. Now, some will argue that they figured it out, but they haven't. They figured out some of the basics. And what I'm bringing to you today is the basics. And the basics can easily take you into the multiple six-figure income earners out there if you just follow a few simple things. So the people you don't know, where are they? It's absolutely everyone else in the population. You should be meeting new people and adding new people to your database every single day. Now, if you're out sick, I get it. But if you're telling me you're on vacation, you're talking to people. You should be adding them to your database. If you're going to the grocery store, you might meet someone out in the parking lot. If you're going to church, you might meet a new person. And you don't need to tell people, hey, I own a real estate business. Can I get your information? You just tell them that, hey, guess what? I've come across a lot of great local events, sometimes business discounts. I'd love to share them with you. Would you mind if I shared some things from you time to time that might be able to save you some money or make you some money? You know? And they're like, well, sure, I'd love to do that. Who doesn't want to make money or save money or, find out what the neighborhood's going on or what's going on in the neighborhood? So you want to collect these things, and don't be a secret where you're just going to hang out and be quiet and sit in your house all day long. You want to get out and go to these events, go to socials, go to these trainings. You see other realtors or other business owners that are giving trainings, even if it's a contractor. I've been in some amazing contracting classes with contractors that are talking about roofs and soffits and things of that nature. And guess what? I meet new people. I meet new people that want to know about real estate. Maybe they're an investor. Maybe they're a first-time home buyer or a veteran that doesn't know that they can buy a house with no money down. You've got to get out there, meet people, and ask those questions. And that's what matters. So, and we've kind of touched on a few of these, but I'm going to make sure we got a few bullet points here. So your sphere, as we talked about, it's going to be your foundation. So many realtors out there don't have one. And if anybody's willing to be honest, who truly has a written out database of everybody in your sphere? Like everybody. Does anybody have that on this call? And if you're shy, I know some people aren't, but I still struggle with it too. Josh, thanks for being honest and throwing it out there. We all struggle with this part. And why? I'm not sure, but I can tell you that mine is always growing. Now, do I struggle with it? Yes, because I meet people every day and then I'm like, oh my God, I met 7 people yesterday. Did I get all 7 of their information to put them in my database? No. So it's not perfect, but by all means, I'm adding. It's growing by at least one person every day. One person a day, I'm adding. So that's 365 people a year. That's huge. And I'll go over some numbers on the conversion of those here shortly. So if you have a sphere of influence, do you have your people in an actual CRM? And some people are like, well, I don't really have a CRM. I have a notebook or I'm using this, but what's the best CRM? Guess what? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Who wants to share what CRM they're using right now? I have a Sierra Interactive CRM and I have a Chime CRM. Both are specifically for buyers and sellers, but that's what I have currently. Looks like Josh uses Chime. Anybody else use anything else out there to keep track of their people? And if you don't have anything, don't be shy. You can put nothing. Trust me, because nothing is probably the most popular answer out there. Because people just, agents in general, like, the CRM. It's the question that so many people ask all the time. What CRM should I use? Use a CRM. All you got to do is put people in and make reminders. So you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, the one you actually use. Yeah, just use it. Good point, Josh. So you've got to get them in. And I've seen extremely successful people making multiple 6 figures. They might use a CRM like Josh and Chime. They might use one like me with Sierra. I've seen people not have any CRM. Well, I take that with a grain of salt. Not a formalized CRM, but they might just use a notebook. Guess what? That is their CRM. It's just customer relationship manager or management. If you can do it in a notebook, pen, paper, things like this, guess what, guys? That's all you need to do. You've just got to be able to keep track of who you're talking to, when you talk to them, keep notes on some things they said. Imagine going to a bar, and this perfect example of this, my sphere. I got invited to go to a barbecue in my neighborhood. I was new in the neighborhood. I got invited, didn't really feel like going. It was a Sunday, football was on. Just didn't feel like it. But my neighbor hit me up a few times, said, hey, you should come out and meet some of the neighbors. And I was like, okay, fine. Well, I went to that. That was probably 3 years ago, something like that, when I got my new neighborhood. Went out, had some conversations, had a good time, couple drinks, ate some good burgers. And guess what? Like always, like almost everywhere I go, the real estate comes up. People ask questions. People want to talk about their house. They want to talk about, oh, I wish I could buy an investment property. I wish I could do this. I'd love to do. Long story short, the gentleman that was there was looking to buy an investment property. So he told me, he's like, hey, look, I know we just met, but I've been looking to buy a lake house somewhere in Virginia, not sure where, but me and my family want to buy a lake house. I'm like, great. I didn't jump all over them. I didn't become that used car salesman as we all have talked about or heard about or, heard horror stories from, excuse me. But long story short, questions led, and I literally did the takeaway from him. And what's the takeaway? He starts asking a million questions. We're having a good time. And I'm like, Perry, you know what? That's great. Let's just have a good time today. Let's have a good time tonight. Let's catch up another day about this whole business thing, because that's what I do for work. But here I'm here to have a good time. He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. He's like, awesome. Awesome. I'd love that too. I just want to laugh and have a good time. Good. Let's do it. So the rest of the night, we had a good time, went home. Day or two goes by. He calls me. He's like, you know what? You're different because everyone else has always tried to sell me. You literally told me not to talk about it and that you'd catch up with me in a couple of days or I could catch up with you. So what happened? We started talking. I found out he made an offer a week or two ago on some nice lake house up in Smith Mountain Lake. And at the end of the day, the agent would take 2 days to call him back and not always reply. And, this all comes from discovery of me asking him questions. And that's a whole other class, whole other course in itself. But when I was talking to him about his search, I was like, well, is anybody helping you now? And he said, well, yeah, kind of. And I'm like, well, kind of, like, what's the problem? He's like, they're not replying. They're not hitting me back. They're just not that proactive. Well, I'm very proactive. And I told him that. And I explained that in so many words. And he explained that he didn't have any working document that was signed off, like a buyer broker is what we call it in Virginia, but he didn't have any contract with this other person. So what happens? We find him a lake house. He actually found the lake house, sent it to me. Inside of 60 days, we closed on a $1.2 million property, about 4 hours away from me. He found it. He told me about it. We talked. I spent a total of maybe 4 or 5 hours with it. And then you guys can probably do the commission on that. But the commission for that one event, so that one person, was over $30,000. And it doesn't matter if it's $4,000, $5,000, it's one person. So you've got to get out there and do it. So that's why I tell people, get out there and talk to people. And how often, if any, are you staying in touch with your sphere? That situation, we just kind of aligned, and I added him to my CRM, and he was instantly in my sphere of influence. And that's why we're talking about him, because he went from someone I didn't know to someone I did know to my sphere, all within inside of like 48 hours. And that can happen. So you've got to always add them to your database. The other great thing is, when I talk to him, when you put someone in your database, sure, you want to put their name, phone number, address, birthday, any form of communication. You also want to put notes about that person. For this person I'm talking about, he's a Navy veteran. I put that as a note. He's a family man. He's a husband. He's a father. He has 2 daughters. He has 2 dogs, 2 cats, much like the number 2. But I put all of these things in the database. So when I do talk to him again, because if you're talking to people every single day, you've got to keep notes on people, because you're going to forget. They're going to start blurring and running together. But let's say, what's more powerful, me calling up and saying, hey, do you still want to look at a house? Or is it more powerful for me to call up and say, hey, you told me both your daughters play volleyball. My daughter does too. What are they in? How long they've been playing for? How long you lived in the neighborhood? Did you like the Navy? Where'd you go? Where'd you get stationed? I'm starting to get into real relationships, not just a business relationship, but real relationships. And I'm making note of all those things. So as I just said, how often are you staying in touch? You've got to stay in touch with people. If you're just that person that sells a house or talks to them once, forgets about them, or you didn't keep the notes, well, guess what? They're going to know that they're just a number to you. And if someone's just a number to you, they're probably going to find somebody else. And what happens, like it says the last bullet point, what happens if you don't stay in touch? Anybody ever had a family member or a close friend that you did not stay in touch with that maybe bought with another real estate agent? I know this one stings a little bit. I know I have. Anybody else? I know some of you have. Don't be shy. I won't call you out. But the truth is, we've all, if you've been in this business any amount of time, you've had people that are close to you buy or sell a house with someone else because you weren't, maybe you didn't stay in touch. Maybe you were that secret agent and just said, I don't want to talk to my sphere. I don't want to talk to my friends or family. Yep, not top of mind. If you're not top of mind, these people are going to find someone else to talk to, no matter how close you think you are. I had someone's own mom use another real estate agent. I've heard someone's cousins, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, parents use other real estate agent. Oh, there you go. Charlotte, thank you for sharing that. Her mother-in-law. Tell me that didn't sting, and why? We can sit there and blame everybody else. If there's something personal going on behind the scenes, it is what it is. But 99% of the time, it's because we don't let people know, hey, we're in real estate. We're active in real estate. We are successful in real estate. And even if you're just getting started, being successful is just doing the work, guys. I'm not talking about hitting a certain milestone to be successful. If you're doing the work, you're successful. That's how I look at it, at least. So just know you've got to put it out there. You've got to get it out on your social media. You've got to talk to people. This thing, if you guys can see this phone, it does not weigh the 10,000 pounds that everyone acts like, where they're afraid to make these phone calls. So just keep that in mind with your sphere. So people, wow, this slide changed a little bit from the last time I had it. I don't know why it got all gray and dark on me. But real quick, so let's get away from sphere and just go to people you know. How many agents do you think these people know on average? How many agents do people know outside of yourself on average? Take your mom, take your mother-in-law, take your cousins, your friends, people you grew up high school or college with. Everybody out there, I guarantee you knows a minimum of 10 or 20 real estate agents. So what's going to make you any different? What sets you apart? Does anybody want to share what sets them apart? And if you don't have anything, I'm going to task you with making that your number one priority today of figuring out 1 to 2 sentences that set you apart from the average real estate agent. So, sorry, got something there. But when I'm talking to somebody, I've had that question posed to me, not recently, long ago, when I was getting started, like, what makes you different? What makes you this? I know a ton of agents. So you can sit back and take that and just say, okay, well, like this gentleman, Perry, he knows a ton of agents, successful guy, doing great things. He knows a ton of agents, but he sat down with me because I was different. I took it away. I didn't want to just throw up everything about real estate and how I can help him. And, I sold this and I made it about him. And bigger yet, I took it away from him. His whole conversation he was trying to have with me was at a cookout. I wanted to be at the cookout, and you've got to get like that because your doctor, your attorneys, all these people that you put on high regard, at the end of the day, the truth is guess what? They're not there trying to get you to convince you of anything. You're finding them. So when I took that away from this guy, he's like, wait a second now. He's different. I'm like, look, let's talk about this another day. Now's not the time. But people know at least 10 or 20 agents, if not way more than that, especially if they've been around a little bit. Maybe they've been in other business functions or other networks. People know tons of real estate agents. So you have to figure out what sets you apart. My story 20 years ago is different than it is now. Back then I was talking about how hard I'm going to work for them, how much I'm going to hustle for them. I'm going to be there every step of the way. Now I tell them, I've got a great team behind me that's going to help you, a nationwide network of real estate agent that's going to help you no matter where you go. I'm also a Marine Corps veteran, so I do a lot with the military. That's my niche. I know people that are big into dogs or cats. Guess what? That becomes their niche. So what are some things you guys do outside of real estate? Tell me something you do outside of real estate. Give me something, guys. You guys are quiet. I think Josh said that in the beginning. This is a quiet group, but there's got to be something you do outside of real estate. It can be a hobby. Maybe it's just, you're a member of the church, the school. Josh jumping in there with some fishing, some golf, some family. Love it, love it, love it. ICU. Wow, that's intense. Thanks for sharing, Charlotte. And thank you for working in ICU. That's a tough one. But these are your people. These are the people that you connect with on a different level. So whether it's Josh, maybe he's going fishing or playing golf and he runs into some people. Charlotte, she's an RN. Guess what? These people already know you. So you want to stay in touch with those people that already know you because they know multiple agents, dozens and dozens of them probably. So if you can tell them that you want to stay in touch with them and help them, it can change everything. But you have to start asking these questions to add them. And then what do you send them? Find discounts in your community. Find a crazy awesome house just to share and tell them that's what you're doing. Hey, I'm just sharing this. You may not be looking or anything. I just thought this house was gorgeous. Don't you love the lakefront view? I just saw it today and thought of you because we had a great conversation about lakes. Anything, find a house that has a big montage of football. I've seen houses that have a whole room dedicated to like the Pittsburgh Steelers, not my team, or, say the Dallas Cowboys, maybe my team, things of that nature. And you can share that with people and they appreciate it because you're thinking of them. Maybe you had got their address and you're driving by their house or in their city, even say, hey, I was just driving through your neighborhood or just in your community and this house came for sale. I don't know what it's like compared to yours, but it looks like they're trying to get a pretty penny for it. Check it out. You're thinking of them. People want to feel like they're important. And if you're not making anybody feel important and you're not trying to get into a relationship with them, then it doesn't matter. But for the people that's what you want to focus on. And make sure you're adding them to your database as people maybe not your sphere yet, but definitely people because it's not just them. It's also, they can refer you to their friends and family if they start to really connect with you and you're in that deep relationship. Let me see here. Josh just said, my last brokerage, we had a guy that started a group for dads on Facebook and all his business has come from that group. He hosts events, backpack drives. That is awesome. I love that. That's actually awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Josh. Me and my daughter, she asked me about starting a TikTok page. So guess what we did a few days ago? We started a TikTok page together. No mention of real estate, none. But the people that know me or I've interacted with over the years might stumble across that TikTok page and they've already have some of them like, oh, I love what you're doing with your daughter. I think it's so awesome. I didn't bring up real estate. I didn't talk about those things, but they see it and they see that I'm actually doing something that's just not business, because people either don't talk about business enough or they get into this rat race where that's all they do. And they're not going to work with the people they don't know that are doing it. And they're not going to work with the people that just scream about business 24/7 either. This whole social media thing is about being social, just like being offline is about being social. So just know they might buy or sell a house, but they're also future referral partners and even other agents. You want to be friends with other agents, even if they drive you crazy sometimes. So let's talk about the people we don't know. This is everybody, guys. There's almost 8 billion people. Doesn't matter what country they're in. There's people in other countries that have friends in the States. And if they're in the States or anywhere, we can all get referral commissions. Has anybody gotten a referral commission lately? Just tell me a state you referred a deal to at some point in your career where you got a commission check. Where's a place that you might have referred a deal to? Texas? Nice. And where are you at, Takesha? Are you in Texas or are you somewhere else? Let's see what she says. I'm always curious where people are because that's the beauty in real estate, guys. You can refer anywhere and negotiate that referral commission. Oh, you're in Virginia. Hey, I'm in Virginia too. Nice. But that's the thing. We don't know nothing about Texas or Alaska or overseas. But if we have someone that's moving, And if you're connected to the military or anything like that, it doesn't even have to be that. People move all the time. And regardless of where they go, they need to know that you have a nationwide network of referral partners that you can connect them with. And I use that all the time because it's true. I do have a nationwide network of real estate partners. And so do you if you do this right. And that's what you got to put out there. And like Takesha said, she's in Virginia, referred one in Texas. And at the end of the day, and she said, thanks for her veteran connection. That's awesome. Love it. But say a house sells for 300,000, typical commissions and splits and referral fees. If the total commission would be around 10 grand, hypothetically, say you get a 25% referral fee for that, that's $2,500. And all you did is refer a name and a number. So don't pass up on these opportunities of just being a connector. All right. And then you always need to be meeting new people. And I'm going to repeat that time and time again, because that is the key to it. Regardless if you have 10 people in your sphere or 100 people, there's always going to be people at some point that might flake out or drop off. So if you're meeting new people, it's always growing. And where do you meet people you don't know at? Well, guess what? They're everywhere. Neighborhood events. We talked about it, church, kids, sports, classes, take a training, go to a party. Any of these things, anywhere you go, you can always be meeting new people. And if anyone ever says, I don't have anybody else I know, well, you need to go meet new people. Go find a group of people you don't know and start making friends. Just like when we were all kids, right? What happened? If you ever moved, has anybody ever moved and their parents like, get out of the house, go meet some people? I just got here. I don't want to go. I don't know anybody. I know when I moved a couple of times, my parents would kick me out of the house and say, go meet people. I didn't know what I was doing. I just went out, found someone playing football or kickball or baseball, and just wait and hopefully get to play. And if I hung around long enough, they'd ask, and I'd get out there and meet new people. Now we just do it a different way. Now we're in business. Now we're in real estate. So now I'm constantly taking people I don't know, right? Sliding them in so I can be people I do know. Now I know them. Now I get their contact information. Guess what? Then the ones that I really click with become part of my sphere. That's huge, guys. That's huge. So the basics of relationships, you're going to have to find a way to stay in touch. As I talked about earlier, CRMs, notebooks, Excel docs, whatever the case may be, you have to have a system. You put their information in the system. You got all their contact information you can, name, phone number, email address, physical address, birthday. And if you can get it, their dog or cat's name, because these are things people care about. How many kids they have, were they in the military? Were they a firefighter? What do they do for a career? Find those connections. And then you got to put them in your CRM, your notebook, Excel doc, whatever the case may be. Excuse me. And then you have to have a way to organize everybody. The worst thing is not having a CRM or a place to keep track of people. The second worst thing is, if you have one, is not being able to organize it or find anybody. It defeats the purpose to have a database of people or a CRM of sorts and not be able to locate who you're looking for. Some people use tags. Some people use color codes, hashtags, filters, whatever that is. Every system works a little bit different, but you find the one that works for you and you can organize it the way it makes sense. And anything I say after this, you guys are welcome to reach out to me at any point. And I'll share that at the end of this. And you must have a plan to stay in touch. So now you have your database, you have a way to find everybody, and you have to find a way to stay in touch. And it's easy to follow. So I know right now, every single Veterans Day, Memorial Day, things like that, I can click a button and it's going to go out to all my military partners, period. I'm working on ways to find out everybody's favorite sports team, whether that's baseball. I could put a hashtag baseball. I could put a hashtag for football and then another hashtag for Dallas Cowboys. So I can do searches based on everyone that's a big football fan and loves the Dallas Cowboys. Or maybe I find a veteran, hashtag veterans, and hashtag Marine Corps like myself. And then I can easily press a button and it has a list of all my Marine Corps contacts. And I can click one button and say, hey guys, just want to say, hey, maybe it's a Marine Corps birthday, because all the different branches have birthdays, or maybe I look in my database one day and the football team, say the Cowboys, I talk about them a lot, will, have a great game. Sometimes they have a great game, sometimes they don't, but they win. Last second touchdown. I sent a message to all my Cowboy fans. Hey guys, great.
Terry, you're waiting for that day you can click a button and say the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. I am too, brother.
All right, I'll add you to my list. Appreciate it. But that's what you want to do. You've got to stay in touch, because if you're not, someone else is going to be staying in touch with them. All right. So now how to, so your sphere should always be, they say 10-to-1 return or 12-to-1 return. I use 12-to-1. So for every 12 people in your sphere that you actually have, that you're doing right, should turn into one sale. So if you have 144 people in your database that you're staying in touch with and being engaged with and having that real relationship with, that should turn into 12 sales or 12 referrals that you can close. That in itself is an okay, way of life. 12 deals, depending on where you're located at. If you want to step it up, guess what? You just got to increase how big your sphere is. I say this whole 33 times a year, and sometimes you're like, what am I going to talk about 33 times a year? Well, if you break it down, it gets pretty easy. And I even gave some examples here, and it's a combination of things. Don't focus everything just online, just offline, just emails, just parties. Any one of those can be successful by itself. But if you hit them, and this is what I always go with, land, sea, and air, because I'm a military guy. But if you hit them multiple ways, just like they do in war or battle or anything else, you want them to see your emails, reach out for those personal texts and phone calls, pop by with a nice little cheap gift, send them something to their mailbox, let them see you online, and maybe have a party or go to a neighborhood party. That's everything, guys, as far as that combination. But there's so many different ways. So those 33 times a year, get a newsletter. There's free resources for newsletters, are very cheap. What's it need to say? It doesn't matter. That's the thing. Write whatever you want. But some people we'll talk about the market, some funny facts, some whatever means something to you. We talk about the SPCA, dogs, cats, churches. Find something that means something to you and put those things in your newsletter. Because if you're not a veteran, but you have a whole article based on the Marine Corps way of life, people are probably going to see through that unless you're super attached to it. If I try to go out there and tell you all these great fishing stats and fishing holes to go to, that wouldn't be my thing. I love to fish, but I'm horrible. I love to golf. I'm horrible. So I'm not the one to talk about those things. But find a newsletter, get it out every month to your people. And then every quarter, pick up the phone, guys. Pick up the phone and say hello. What are you going to talk about? I don't know. Be a friend. Be real. Keep it real. Quit trying to think like you need to be the best salesman. Just be a real human being that cares. And then guess what? They have a birthday, right? You can be that person just to kind of say happy birthday on their Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Or you can pick up the phone, or better yet, get a customized card that you can create at some of these platforms. And this is what I have access to. One of my platforms create custom cards. I can take their picture, put it on the outside of the card and say happy birthday. And I can handwrite my name inside of it with a picture of them on the outside. They're probably not going to throw that one away, but they'll throw away that cheesy one you spent $5 or $6 are at the Walmart or wherever you go to buy cards. I buy all my cards with my cell phone with a picture of the person on it. And then if you can do a quarterly appreciation event, there's another 4 events, 4 times a year. So that's another 4 points of contact. And what can it be? It can be small. You don't need many. Have 5 people. Tell them you're going to take their family out. Take one family out and go bowling. There's an appreciation event. You have more families that want to interact. Take a group of 3 or 4 families to Topgolf. You want to go bigger? Tell them all to come to this restaurant, and you've got 10 families coming or 20 families. Guess what? And I know some people say I don't have the money for that. You have to. Start small. Take people out, spend $50 on a meal. It's going to mean the world to them and their family. And then a quarterly pop-by gift just to say hello. And you want to stagger these so it's not happening all at the same time. And then, of course, if you've ever had an experienced financial planner, anything of that nature, you guys watch the shows, watch TV, any of those things in real life, guess what? There's a yearly plan where people schedule times to go talk to their friends, their family, their clients. And they're like, listen, I'm just adding something new to my business. I'm giving away a free 30-minute, hour-long, yearly consultation for all my friends and family out there and anyone you may know. Well, what's included in that? Me to come out, evaluate your house, tell you what it's worth, and tell you, what the market's doing. And this is just an extra add-on professional service I add for my clients, my top tier clients, my sphere. So you do these things. And of course, it says 5 to 10 just because. Send a postcard, just sold, because you still want them. All these other things are about them. Definitely make the yearly market valuation. That's about the market. That's about real estate. And then these 5 to 10 calls, texts, postcards can be about real estate, because you want them to see that you're still doing real estate activities, that you're still selling homes, that you're still helping people buy and sell. And then all these other things on top of it. Now real estate and you become synonymous. Now you're in a real relationship with these people. And the return, like it says, 12 to 1, 144 people, that's 12 deals. 288 people is 24 deals a year. That right there is putting you in the 6-figure range. Most places. All right. So let me go, jumped ahead there. And as it says down here at the bottom, always engage. If I can move this little slide, always engage with them on social media. So you might have met them offline, but you want to take it online. And if you've met them online, you want to take it offline. There's power in online and offline, as we talked about. You want to be offline and online with all your people. Engage with them. Don't just like and heart things. Actually use your words and say, oh my God, that looks like a great vacation. Hope you had fun in Disney. Hopefully I'll be there next year. Oh my God, that's such a big ass fish Josh caught. How big is that? How much that weigh? Oh, you're playing golf, any holes in one? You hit a hole in one? Maybe they took a vacation with their family. Jamaica looks so awesome. Or the lake that you went to in Texas looked like a hell of a time. Tell me about it. Use your words. People want to be connected. They want to feel part of something. And I know we're running short, but let me jump through these last few here. People you want to hit them up weekly. Touch base with them, see how they're doing. Send them something, market report, flyer, whatever the case may be. And once you send it, maybe you don't get a response for a few days. Maybe respond with a phone call. Not saying you have to call them every week. I'm just saying, give them something of value weekly. And the minimum is once a quarter. But if you can stay in touch with them, like I said, online makes it super easy. Social media makes this super easy. It doesn't have to be awkward. But when you do find people ask them it's okay. Do the small talk and see if you can stay in touch. And if they're okay with you staying in touch, if it's been a good conversation, add them to your sphere. That will grow your sphere. You always want to be growing the sphere. Send them a free real estate investment tip of your house or a maintenance tip. An investment tip or a house maintenance tip. Sorry, I said that wrong. And then handwritten notes are amazing. You can write a handwritten card, just thinking about you. Just want to make sure you have my latest information. Send them a magnet, a football schedule, baseball schedule, a school calendar. You're sending them something that they can put on their fridge or up on their wall that can work for you. And then if you have this 33 touch plan written out, you can create your own, but you want to do those 33 touches a year. So if you can do that, trust me when I say this, you will start getting referrals. And again, back to the people you don't know, this is where marketing comes in. You have to be marketing. If you're not marketing, you're just like, I just know a lot of people. Even people that know a lot of people end up running out of people. Think of McDonald's, think of Walmart, think of Apple. Why does Apple still have commercials? They're worth $3 trillion. Guess what? They want to get more people, because if they just hang out with the people that they do know, which is most of the population or half of them at this point with iPhones and iPads, they're still missing out on half the other population. That's what they're going for. So all of us, being the fact we're not Apple or Amazon or McDonald's, we should all be marketing yourself to make yourself stand out differently, because then you can pull people from the ones you don't know and pull them into the circles that you do know. And once you get into a tighter relationship with the people you do know, then they become part of your sphere. And from there, it's up to you to make it happen. And like it says, the only goal of marketing is to meet new people, not to sell them day one. Very few people are going to buy anything from you day one. But if you get to know them, You get these leads in, you start taking care of them, they get excited. Next thing you know, they're part of your sphere. Oh, an added bonus, good point, Jessica. Added bonus, hey, they're write-offs too. You're already thinking along the right lines. Love it. So yeah, do these things, spend the money, meet new people, and you get to write it off on your taxes. Doesn't get much better than that. So with that, we're at 11:58, almost timed that pretty good there. Anybody have any questions for me? I got a few minutes here. I can chat. So feel free to ask away. You can unmute. You can put them in the text box. Completely up to you. But let me know. Awesome info. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it, man. And I appreciate you guys jumping in. Takesha, Charlotte, Jessica, some other ones that had some questions and some comments along the way. Great stuff. Great stuff. But yeah, and so I got a little over a minute left. Just if no one has any questions, just want to let you know, feel free to reach out to me. Hit me up with any questions you may have. Here's my personal contact information. You can find me. There's my email. This is my cell phone. If you're going to call my cell phone, please text first, because I get a lot of spam calls, as probably all of us do. And then, of course, here's my website. There you can book a one-on-one with me at terrytrexler.com. And then that way you have my email, my phone number, and of course, my site to schedule a direct call with me as well. So with that said, guys, if there's nothing for me, I've got to jump to go meet someone and add people to my database. What's that?
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I'm glad we could offer some value here today. Thanks for having me. Josh and the guys with the No Agent Left Behind, and that's my mission as well. So we just want to help agents. We don't want anybody to get in this business and have to struggle or feel like they got left behind, regardless of your brokerage. It's not what this is about. If you want to circle around and really build something, regardless of where you're at, that's what I'm here for. I'm happy to help, regardless of your brokerage. And I know these guys, No Agent Left Behind, are doing the same thing. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I got to jump, and hopefully I'll be hearing from some of you soon. Take care, everybody. All right.